Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Art 196, Introduction to Designing Web Graphics for the fall semester 2021. Today, we're going to focus on Lesson 12, which is the last lesson that we'll be covering in the textbook this semester, which involves adding interactivity to your website. There's only two things that they want us to work on in here. So what I'm looking at the moment, here's the first one, is this is one of the earliest days of adding a form of a slideshow to your website. And it's using rollovers to do that. So what we will do is we have to switch from live view in a minute. I'll show you to design view. And then under window, you want to make sure that you have behaviors accessible. Behaviors are not accessible in live view. And that will allow us to make this thing work. The other thing that we have that we'll be working on. So let me show you this. This is let me just go ahead and look at this and not split view, just live view. There we go. And I'm going to stretch this out a bit so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so you'll notice that we have, it says Echo Tour of Paris. And this is, in fact, a table that we create. And we use the settings that we've already created for it, used for previous table and another exercise. And then what we're going to do is that we have an image in here on the right. And then when we hover over the Eiffel Tower tour, notice that the slide swaps out. And when you roll off of it, it swaps back. Likewise for the Paris Underground, that swaps. And we go back and we swap and we go back and we swap and we go back. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'll work on today. It's simply taking a table and it's collapsing columns, adding columns, and then pasting a start image in here, kind of a placeholder. And then for the other images that you use, they have to be of identical size to the placeholder. And then we will use behaviors, just using the text here, to be able to swap one out for the other. So again, before we had a lot of really fancy interactivity on the web, this was considered kind of state of the art early on. Okay. And the only downside to it is that when you move the mouse off of it, it swaps back. But it was a convenient way of showing work. That you could have not only instead of text, you could have a thumbnail image and hover over it and then display a larger image to the right. So that would be another way of doing that. The next thing that we're going to cover, so that's under travel. So here's tips finished. So this is the tips start that we worked on in lesson 9, where we added unordered lists. Okay. In order to see all of the lists, you have to scroll down and scroll back up quite a bit. Now, what we learned in lesson 11, we could add anchor tags to these and move up and down the page if we wanted to. And that wouldn't be a bad way to work. But we have a Bootstrap component that we can add, and that's what I'll work on today as well. So I'll switch to the finished version. And there are either tabs or accordion. And when I hover over this, you can see that that closes, and then I click on work and that opens back up. And I click on in community and that opens and the other one closes. So you can only have one open at a time. And every time you click on it, it opens. And when you click on it again, or if you click on another one, then it automatically closes and that one opens. Okay. So there both effective ways of adding interactivity to your website. There's a third way that I'd like to talk about next week, which happens to be the week of Thanksgiving. So we will only be meeting on Tuesday, not on Thursday. But to show you how to add a wow slider. Wow sliders are by the same people who make MobiRise. And if I go ahead and let's open that file here. Here's the wow slider HTML. Come on. There we go. So a little slideshow that you can put in any HTML page. And the other one that I created, though, for this particular show, it was slideshow. There we go, slideshow, spring 2021. So I added it to a child page that we have here, but the downside to this is that I had to detach it from the template in order to make this work. Okay, and depending on the kind of slideshow that you select in Wow Slider, you can control it by determining, by a forward and a backward button, and you can have it pause and that sort of thing, but that's not the one that I used for this one. Okay, so that'll be next week. And again, you can scroll back and forth, or you can scroll forward, or however you want. Anyway, that's the wow slider, but more to the point today. Let's work on the travel one right now. So this one, okay, this is the finished version. And let's look at the start version here. Now I've already gone in here and added the table, and come on, there we go. And I've already added the placeholder image and that sort of thing. And I just want to show you how to go ahead now and add the interactivity, which is really very simple. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to select image. And then what we need to do is it needs to have, you should have an ID for it. You don't have to, but you can. So I'll click here and I'm going to put placeholder. Okay. So you'll notice an ID down to the lower left has a placeholder. And now what I want to do is I want to swap the placeholder out with another image. So as I said, right now I'm in live view, but in order to access the behaviors, because notice that they're all grayed out, I need to switch from live view to design view. So now what I can do is I can highlight the text. And now I have access to the behaviors. And now what I want to do is I'm going to click the plus. And what I want is I want swap image restore. Okay. Now it restores the last set of swap images to their previous source files used only after applying the swap image behavior. So I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to go ahead and just use swap image instead. Okay, swap image. And now you'll see we have, here's the placeholder. I want to swap it because notice that we have other images on the page as well. And I don't know what these images are, but I want to swap it with another image. So I'm going to browse for it in my my image folder. And because this is the Eiffel Tower tour, we need to scroll in here and we need to find, let's see, where's the Eiffel Tower tour? Maybe it's the Echo tour. Is that it? No. That's the Champs-Élysées, City, Cruise, Echo tour, Eiffel Tower tour, probably staring right at it. Skyline Tower, is that it? That's the underground tower. You got to pick the correct one. So I think it's the tower, Eiffel Tower. So I'll select that and I'll click OK. Okay. So now I can go ahead and it's swap image. And if I test it, if I go back, it won't, what it will do is that it will swap it, but it won't swap it back. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to try it again differently though. I'm going to go back again and I want it to use swap image restore. Okay. So it says, okay, that's okay. So on mouse out, swap image restore. Okay, well, let's go ahead and remove that. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. There's one that it used to do automatically. So maybe they have changed it up a bit. So let me try again. I'm going to go ahead and swap image. And again, use the placeholder and I'm going to browse. So this must be something that they just recently did. Well, let's select the tower. Okay, click OK. And now let's go ahead and add also on mouse out. That's on mouse over, it will swap the image. And then let's go ahead and add another one. And then on swap image restore. So we'll go ahead and add that. Okay, so on mouse, I don't want it on mouse over. Yeah, oh, there we go. On mouse out, swap image restore. So let's test it out and see how it works. I'm going to switch back to live view. And I'm going to scroll back up here. And let's see, we have that working. It may not be working, so we'll see. I'm going to switch from here to hide live view. And there we go. So it is working. Now, the only thing left that we need to do for this is that we need to style this. We need to style this H3 tag so that when it hovers over it, it underlines and it works. But right now, when I hover over it, the Eiffel Tower, when I move out, then the Paris Echo Tour image pops back up. So let's try this one again. Let's go ahead and again, behaviors, because I'm in live view or deactivated. Let's go back over here and let's select Paris Underground, highlight that. Okay, and again, I'm going to go ahead and add. I want to select swap image. There's other things that you can do too here. You can, have a pop-up message. You can make sure that images are preloaded and that sort of thing. But I'm going to go ahead and swap image. And again, I have placeholder again, but now I'm going to select a different one. I want the underground image, underground photograph. So that would be the underground. Underground. That's the one that we want. Click OK. Now let me show you what happens if you don't use swap image restore. Let me go back to live view. And let me scroll back up. Let's hover over. Notice that swapped, but when I move out, it doesn't restore the original image. So this one works. If you just want it to swap and stay there, you can do that too. But if you want mouse out, if you want it to restore, then we need to add that. So let's go back again to design view. Again, with that highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and add the behavior. And I want to add to this swap image restore. Okay, now let's test it again. And it's a good idea to test it after each one of these. So let's go back over here. There it swaps to the Paris underground. When I remove it, the mouse on mouse out, it swaps back. So you're going to do that for the other two, and we're in good shape. And then probably the only thing more that we really need to style, let's see. Maybe I've already styled it. Hold on here. I don't want to style the Bootstrap accordion. I wanted to style the image store. So, my apologies. Because there's some styling that we need to do that I was going to leave it up to you guys. It's pretty straightforward. So why don't I just let you do that? Okay. So that, you know, and if we look at the finished version, let's go ahead and look at the finished version so we can see. There's the travel finished. And you can see that these guys on the hover state, you get the underscore. And then at the same time, though, it's changed that to green. Now, this one, if I select it in here, if I go ahead and we look at that, let me swap this. Let's turn off live view. So now these don't work. But this is an A selector, A link. And let's look at the CSS. And if I switch and I make sure that I'm looking at not all sources, but we look at green styles, global, and then I come under here. This happens to be an H3. So if I if I click on here, yeah, it's an H3. So let's go ahead and click. We can select the A link, and we have H3. And now let's go down here to view the H3. Article, table, H3. And if I select that and I say show set, you can see that we've added a margin along the bottom. Font size is 130%. Font family, Arial narrow. Okay. And then it adopts the green from the other. Now, if I look at the A, let's look at that. Here's this one here. It says table H3 A link. Okay, that's what all of these are. And table H3 A visited. You can see that the color is changed to 090. The font weight is bold. Okay, so just a couple of selectors that we need to add to it, and then we're set to go. But that's how you create a simple a simple rollover, interactive piece. So this goes back to the start. Okay, we have these guys working. Okay, so I'm going to switch now gears, and if there aren't any questions, let's look at tips. So you can see that we have tips here. And I want to actually add to this under, let's see, insert, I want a Bootstrap component. And what we're going to do is we're going to add the accordion to this. Now, there's sort of a downside to this, and that it adds some script to this, some code that is locked by the template that we created. And so what I have to do in order to insert this, because I'll show you, I'll try to insert, if I select the paragraph here, and then I say that I want to insert the accordion right after it. Okay. I'll say I want it after. You notice that I get an error message. It says the component is not fully compatible with a current Bootstrap CSS/JavaScript file. A new Bootstrap will be created from and linked to the document. Now, do you want to continue? Yeah. But then when I do that, it says that making this change would require changing the code that's locked by the template or translator. So in order to do that, you have to remove the, detach it from the template. So in order to do that, we have to go back from Live View and go to Design View. Okay. And let's go ahead and go to Tools, Templates, and we're going to detach from template. Okay. Now I can do that. So now we can go back to Live View. I can select the paragraph because I want the Bootstrap component to be added right after that. And then we'll copy paste and then get rid of the other elements in here. So it's an accordion. There's also a tab that's very similar, but I just want to add the accordion to this. I want it to be after. Okay. Yes, I want to add that. And there we go. We have 1, 2, and 3 groups that have been added. So for example, the first one at home, I can click in here. I can just simply highlight that and I can change all of these by typing that in. Okay, come on. That should be at home. Okay, so that's changed. But now we need to add the content in here. So it's probably easiest if we do this in code view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to select anywhere inside the unordered list. And then I'm going to go ahead and using my tag selector, I'm going to select it. Okay, select that whole unordered list. And then in code view, okay, make sure that everything is selected. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and again, make sure that the whole unordered list is selected and copy it. Command C for copy. Then I'll come back up. And what I need to do is I need to go to the accordion where it says content for accordion goes here. Now I can't, if I paste it here, it won't work. See, all of the unordered list is gone. It just pastes the code. So that doesn't help us. So what I need to do is make sure that I have split view. And where it says paste content here, because I copied it from there, that's where it's going to go. Okay, so now I can go ahead and I can highlight where it says content for panel goes here. Make sure that I don't, that it goes inside this div and I paste it inside there. And now, ta-da, all of that works. So now we can go ahead to the next one. So let me go ahead and let's go down to the next one down here. And we're going to do the same thing. Right now we have class. Let's go ahead. We have the panel group. And the second one that we had here, we had at home. And then this one is at work. So let's go ahead and type that in here. Come on. Delete that. And at work. Okay. That needs to be a capital 2. Okay, so we've changed that. And now what I can do, that's the panel title. So we've changed that, just like we did the other one. Now let me see if I can go ahead and open that up. Let's go to hide settings. Let's go ahead and open this one up. Come on, open up or no? There we go. So that opens it up. You need to remember to go over here where it says hide live view displays and check that so that we can open that up. Again, click in here for the content. And this is where it goes. Okay. It says content for accordion. But at work, I didn't copy that code yet. So I need to go back over here. Click anywhere inside there. Select the entire unordered list. Copy it. Now I can go back up here inside where it says content for accordion. Notice that it's bouncing around a little bit, so that's not too fun. But there we go. Now that it's copied, come on. There we go. So where it says content for accordion panel 2, just highlight that and then paste. So now I have that one in there. And we do the same for group 3. And then, we can, test it to make sure that it's working. So let's go ahead here. No, it should be working. There we go. Click here. That's working. Click here. That's working. So the only thing left to be done, that needs to be done, is that the text and the background and the tabs and stuff need to be styled. If you're happy with an overall kind of generic look for this, then you can leave it as is. When we're done with this, what I probably should do is I probably should take the entire, let's go ahead and hide live display. Let's look at this in split view. But what I should do is take the entire panel here. Let's see, here's the entire accordion group. And what I want to do with that whole group is that put that in a section tag. So with all of that selected, I can go ahead, and I don't want that selected. I want the entire accordion group selected. So there we go. I believe the whole thing is selected. It helps to look at the code view while you're doing that. Then I can go ahead and hit plus. Over here, I'm in the DOM, and I want to wrap the tag around it. And the tag that I want to wrap is not a div, but a section. Okay. So there, a section tag has been wrapped around it, the whole thing. Again, that isolates it just a little bit, and then we can take the other one here. And when we're done with that, we can get rid of that and we can delete it. Once we put all the content in there. And that's it. That's the extent of adding interactivity. The Bootstrap component is good, but as I said, now that we've disconnected the page from the template, any changes or additions that you make to the template will not affect this page. What we can do with a page, though, let's give this a try, though, and see, is that we can go to tools. So let me go switch back to design view. And we can go to tools, and we can go to templates. And what we want to do is apply template to page. Okay, so my green template, And we can go ahead and select. There we go. Some of the regions of this document have no corresponding to it. So let's say, I haven't done this before because I normally just leave it as is. So these aren't resolved. So you'd have to go back and actually change it in the template for that to work. So that's not good. So that, again, it's kind of a downside. It would require a little bit more work on our part in order to make sure that it's a child page from the template that we created, that if we make changes to the template, this page, in fact, is affected. But it was the Bootstrap and the JavaScript that was added in order to make this, function that wasn't a part of our original template. So we would have to add that to the template. And then if we added that to any other page, it would, affect it. Okay. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. It's a bit short. And as I said before at the beginning, that if you want to wait and complete lesson 12 and then publish lesson 12, you're welcome to do so. But I would not wait till the last minute to publish the second set of lessons and make sure that it does work, because a couple of you have had issues publishing lessons 1 through 7. So the same thing will hold true with this, though, but it'll be one slight difference when you publish it, because you're going to have additional files. You're going to have additional pages to upload. And so make sure that you upload all of them and to your existing host, which I assume is infinityfree.net. I would assume that you're going to either add another website or you're going to delete what you did with lesson 7 and then upload everything again, just to be on the safe side and make sure everything works, because now you have additional pages, you have changes that you've made to the template, and additional changes to CSS, and on and on and on, to make sure that everything functions properly. Take the time to test it to make sure that it works. And if you have issues, you might have to go back and make changes and test again and again. And then if the problems persist, contact me. We'll have can set aside a time, either in class or out of class, out of the webinar time, and I will help you to get things corrected. Okay. So that's it for today. Any questions? No? So today is part one of adding interactivity to a page. And next Tuesday, I will show you how to take a child page. And again, you'll have to detach it from the template and add a slideshow. Okay. Okey doke. Okay, no questions? Okay, then I'm gonna pause my recording. And I'm gonna say goodbye for today. Yeah, I thought I was gonna leave you guys real quick, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna test this real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and with this page saved. There we go. Let me go ahead and go to File. And let's go to real-time preview. And let's try it in Firefox. There we go. And you can see that it is working. The page is working, and see how and I hover over that. Now I haven't styled the H3, but everything, the slideshow here is working. But when you publish the entire website, and I could do that next week instead, or maybe the week after, just to show you, to make sure that it's all working. Okay. So test to make sure that everything works. Okay, bye again.